How's it going out there, everyone? This is W.F.S, and I want to talk to you today about what's going on with the actors' strike and the writers' strike. Now, normally on my channel, we talk about Star Trek most of all, but we do talk about film and sometimes we talk about television. And every once in a blue moon, I will talk about music. I love music. I probably should do that more, but according to the other information I hear, when you start with something, you should stick with that. And if you want to talk about other things like music, even though that is pop culture, you should try that on another YouTube channel. But what I am talking about today has to do with Star Trek. In a way, it does anyway, because as long as the actors are on strike and the writers are on strike, there will be no new material coming at us. Now, some people are out there dropping to their knees, going, thank you, God, because of all the stuff that we've been getting lately. But I want to talk to you today about, as I said before, the writers and the actors strike and how sad, but at the same time, I think it's kind of entertaining what's going on here. The information that's coming out and some things I'm learning I never knew. I just find mind blowing, like when it comes to residuals and the writers. I was having discussions with people on Facebook about this who claim to be in the know, and they say things like the writers are getting something like 33 cents for their residuals. And that's like, damn, only 33 cents. And they want to make a big deal out of it. And I guess to them, it is a major deal. I don't understand a lot of the ins and outs of how this works. But in the middle of the conversation, and the gentleman never responded, I simply asked him because he's telling me that they get 33 cents for their residuals. They can't live on that. They're starving. And I asked this simple question, and he never responded to it. But I asked him, okay, they're getting 33 cents for their residuals. But are you telling me the writers, that's all they get? They're not getting a paycheck? I mean, they're sitting in these rooms for hours on end trying to figure out good material to write. Some of them write bad stuff, but still, they're in these rooms for hours on end coming up with all this stuff, and they're not getting a paycheck for it. Maybe I don't understand, but to me, that just doesn't sound right. And if you are someone who's involved with that, drop a comment below and let me know because I really am curious about how that works. But now I want to talk about some of the other things that I have learned, and I'm going to show you in just a few minutes. And some of this stuff is crazy to me. Okay, so before we get into the actual video itself, I want to thank all of you who have subscribed to the channel. I am so thankful for all of you out there. It is greatly appreciated, and I do enjoy the feedback and the talks that we have. I really do appreciate it. But now let's get into this video. Okay, so the actors are on strike, the writers are on strike, and you would think that something so significant and so important as a strike, you would have all your major players out there helping you promote your argument and win your debate. So if that's what you think about this, if you think everybody's on board, all hands on deck, you may be surprised, and actually I'm not. It just blows my mind that this actually is coming out right now. But what would you say if I told you that not everyone is on board? They may say they support you and what you're doing, and they may be in the same union as you guys. But what would you say if I told you that not everyone is helping you? Like, say, oh, I don't know, the top end of the actors, the A-list actors, they're not out there, they're not helping, they're not on the picket lines. What would you say if I told you that that is happening?
I knew it, you son of a bitch!
Okay, so to start off with here, the Guardian is reporting A A's Hollywood actors strike. Here's why A-listers are next in the firing line. They go on in the article here to talk about how the strike and the unions go after the big wigs, and it's not really creators involved with at the top of the movie studios anymore. It's more like major conglomerates, and they're only interested in their bottom line. And That's true. You've got multiple investors from around the world now involved with these films. I think Paramount is heavily involved with China as well as Warner Brothers. I remember back last summer, China sent a letter off to Warner Brothers telling them that they need to stop putting uh, woke agendas into the film, otherwise, they will not be airing them in China. But this is not what I'm here to talk about. I'm talking about the actors here who the unions are out there crying that the studios are well loaded. CEOs like Bob Iger make tons of money. And we'll get to Bob in a little bit here. But Bob and all these top CEOs make all this money. They talk about the studios, and all that they're interested in is protecting the wealth of the studio, its investors, the billionaires, and they don't give a damn about the little guy. But where are the top actors in all this? Why aren't they on the front lines? I mean, let's take a little look here. This isn't an academic exercise, says Damon, Matt Damon, of course. This is the real life and death stuff. There's no reason to imagine Damon's expressions of solidarity were anything but heartfelt and genuine. The actors on Oppenheimer reportedly took a pay cut to work on the film, but estimates suggesting that Damon's upfront salary on his most recent film, Air, was between 30 and 40 million. That's a lot of money. It really is. I mean, that's I would love to see just one check like that. That'd be amazing. As the strike plagues on, likely obligations in its path, film festivals, award seasons, and livelihoods, not just for the countless actors, writers, and anybody, the crews, the creators, all these people. And this is something I have said to people that I've talked with on Facebook and a couple of other places. This strike doesn't just affect these people here, the writers, the actors. There's all sorts of other people's lives being totally ripped apart by this. And there's a lot going on. And the union, there's people here wanting to know where all their big star players are in all this. Look at this coming up. You get people on the front line, picketers, with banners like, "Where the F is Ben Affleck?" I mean, seriously, this is what they're talking about. Now, to be fair about it, further up in the article, the studio and the richest actors agreed to a 25% pay cut as a goodwill gesture, which might break the deadlock that threatens to cripple the industry. But don't believe that, my friends. Such a proposal seems unlikely to happen, not only through a lack of desire, but the simplest logistics of funneling such funds into the pay pockets of the lowest of paid. Okay, there is a rumor out there. There's a rumor out there that the studios want this thing to go on for a long time because they want to get rid of all the activists. They want to go back to the old ways where people just came in, wrote their stories, did their jobs, went to the screen, did their acting, and that was the end of it. No more activists. They want to get rid of that. That is the rumor that I have heard that they want to get rid of those people. But now, going back to the don't believe this part of it, check this out. Now, this part of it's coming from Yahoo Entertainment. Actors strike update. SAG negotiator says strike may last till 2024. 2024, people. Now, think about that. When we talk about things like Star Trek as an example, we have new season of Lower Decks coming on, but Strange New Worlds is ending in 4 more weeks, and Discovery is on its final season. So now you think about this. If these shows are ending within the next few weeks, and this strike goes on till 2024, how long do you think it'll be until another Star Trek show hits the airwaves? Will people be waiting around that long after all this? A lot of people are getting annoyed. It's just it's not only the writers and the actors, it's a lot of people's lives. Is Hollywood about to die here? Or is it going to be damaged so much that it may not be recognizable anymore? Okay, so the Writers Guild of America and the Screen Actors Guild are on strike together for the first time since the 1960s, with many movies and TV productions being put on pause as actors are no longer able to appear in production or promote their work. As writers and actors are not working, Hollywood has mostly paused and will continue to do so until the strike is over. I mean, there's nowhere for them to go. They can't do anything because it'd be a violation and the unions would sue. But here's the part that is interesting. SAG chief negotiator Duggan Crabtree, and forgive me if I'm not saying it right, Ireland believes it could continue until next year. I wouldn't rule out January or February, Creatrice Ireland said. Everyone should be working hard to make sure that this doesn't happen. But the only way this doesn't happen is by finding a path, a fair deal. And we're not going to compromise on core principles or fairness that our employees fight for. So there it is right there. They are at a standstill. It's not going anywhere and it's not going to happen. Both sides want what they want, and it ain't going to happen until they agree to nudge a little bit. And it's like I said before, you got picketers out there demanding to know where the top, the more powerful players are in the movie acting field. Where are they? Why are they not out? And my personal opinion is a lot of them are not out there because they go to parties with all these big hobnob CEOs and producers, and then they got the politicians. They don't want to rock the boat that they are comfortably sailing in, even if they are part of the union. So there's one more thing I want to get to, and you're going to love this one. This one is a real piece of work here. Okay, so this one's coming from Deadline. SAG AFTRA can bar non-member social media influencers from guild admission if they promote for studio during strike. Do you believe this? You're not part of the union. You're not a writer. You're not an actor. But if you are someone who's like me, trying to create content, but they have a bigger following and they produce stuff for the studio or promote a movie, they could be banned. If they want to become a union member, they won't be allowed to do it because they would be considered scabs. Now, a scab is someone who, if a union is on strike, a person either within the union or with or not in the union crosses the picket line and does the exact same work for the company that the union is striking against. That is a scab. And I was brought up to believe that scabs are the lowest of the low. So, can you consider this to be scabbing? If someone is, again, a YouTube commentator and they are picking up some work for a movie studio, but they're not writing, they're not acting, they're just pitching something. And the union says that if you do anything like that, you could be barred from us because you're scabbing. If you're a social media influencer and want to take work promoting a film or TV series for a studio, but you're not a SAG AFTRA member, you might want to think twice. SAG AFTRA has issued a rules during the strike for social media influencers, even if you're not a member of the guild, but one day want to join. You'll be banned from doing so if you take a promotional work for the studio and streaming during the strike. Do you believe that? You're not writing a story. You're not writing scripts. You're not acting. You may be picking up some work for the studio to promote a film or a TV show, but you're not part of the actors or writers, and yet you're going to be singled out as being scabbed. That's messed up, people. Now, before I close out the video here, I said I'd talk a little bit about Bob Iger, and this is coming from Gizmo. Disney CEO Bob Iger can't seem to find the right thing to say. Not great, Bob. The powerful Hollywood figure has drawn eerie over his remarks over the WGA and the SAG AFTRA strikes. So, Bob is not having a good time, my friends. He's not. THR reports that a close association of Iger said that he has never felt the level of stress in his career. Well, that makes sense. You don't get just historic strikes every quarter. The Wall Street Journal also said that Iger's comments were tone deaf and that a kind of way to put it. I think Fan Dresser, the SAG AFTR president, later improved the statement. There he is sitting in his designer clothes. He just got off his private jet at the billionaire camp telling us we're unrealistic. How do you deal with someone like that who is so tone deaf? Are you an ignoramus? The writer's strike and the actor's strike is definitely a problem for Disney, but Disney has been making issues of its own, creating problems for itself for years. They have, I think, in the last year, I think they've released 8 films, maybe longer than that, maybe longer than a year, but they have lost, counting Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, they have lost over $1 billion. And those type of losses just can't continue. And we've all heard the news of what Disney's planning to do and things they're talking about selling off. So there's a lot of problems out there for Bob. But all that aside, the writers and the actors have their own problems. Going back to the fact that you got the top actors who just don't want to go out there and support the union, at least the way I'm reading all this. And then, of course, you've got the writers and some of the things that Bob says they're unrealistic about. AI is definitely an issue, and I cannot blame both the actors and the writers for having issues with it. But the problem is they have been working with it for years. And you're telling me that only during negotiations does it become a problem? They couldn't make it an issue while they were working before the contract talks? Well, there's a lot going on. More information is probably going to drop soon. And as I said before, it's sad, but entertaining and at the same time. So, my friends, I'm going to end the video right here, but I really want to hear your thoughts and comments. Give me your thoughts, my friends. I really want to hear from you. And I hope you like this video. And if you do, please click that like button. Until the next time, my friends, God bless, and I will see you soon.